Yeah, maybe, but the racket will talk.
We should start having cold opens.
Hmm?
We should start having cold opens. Do you know what a cold open is?
No.
You know, if you watch sitcoms,
Hmm.
sometimes they have that scene the um before the credits that's like completely unrelated to the show. It's
Oh.
mostly I feel like it became quite famous in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Hmm.
But basically, some people do it with like podcasts. They just have a conversation before they start talking
Hmm.
about the actual thing.
Yeah,
Anyway,
fair.
we can make it longer.
That's what we need for sure.
Um, Welcome to our US Open recap episode. It's been quite a long time because, I mean, honestly, usually for slams, I feel like I like to let it sit for a bit, and it still feels like a week later. It still feels kind of fresh, but I feel like this one people really moved on quite quickly. Did you get this feeling?
A bit, yeah. Maybe because the finals themselves weren't especially memorable, I would say. And I mean, it's also just tennis moving along very quickly. Like there was literally 500 the next week.
Yeah,
Not a
but
good one, but still,
that's always the case though. Like I felt like
yeah,
Wimbledon people still cared for longer, and I think you're right a bit about like the finals. I think specifically the results were just kind of like, you know.
yeah. It's I guess that's mostly on Sabalenka because that was it. When you just look at it in isolation, it's like, oh, that's a fairly straightforward result. She defended her title literally. And of course you had Alcaraz and Sinner, and like neither result is surprising at all because they have won literally the last eight. So yeah, I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, and then I thought a little bit more about why this one didn't feel like like it lingered. I think it's to do
Hmm.
with the matches not being great, the results being like fairly straightforward. There seemed to be a lot of drama afterwards. Like everyone started talking about that girl who decided she was dating both of Alcaraz and Sinner.
Hmm.
Um, and then I also think the narratives feel like they're all about looking forward. Like everything is like, oh, okay, so when will Alcaraz do this? Or what's the
Hmm.
future of their rivalry? Is Anisimova going to win a slam? How many slams is Sabalenka going to win? Is she the best player in the world? All the kind of stuff. It wasn't like full stop. Like if you were to look at even the eager
Hmm.
result in Wimbledon, it was an accomplishment in itself rather than a chapter in a story.
I see that, yeah, for sure.
And
Hmm.
the result, the manner of the results wasn't that thrilling.
Hmm.
When we last left you, the listeners, it was just before the semi-finals, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Accurate? Yeah. And then we watched, I'm gonna be honest, in my opinion, the Pagula Sabalenka match was the highest level women's match I've ever watched. I was like frightened because I
That's
just
so
didn't know that
funny.
old lady still had it in her, or ever had it in
Yeah.
her. Has she ever played that well?
Maybe like here and there, but yeah, it was really great performance from her. I mean, I guess we can start with that. I love this match. I mean, that's the note we left on. I was starving for good matches on the women's side, especially, and I was getting pretty desperate. Semi-final stage, there are literally three matches left, but they started and it was really good. It's that was actually my favorite day of the tournament, and it was literally just two women's matches in the middle of the night. I watched all of that on like 3 hours of sleep, and I was so happy. I was not complaining at all. I had a great time, and yeah, both matches were just like great in actually a very different ways. So yeah, I would say the big thing about Sabalenka Pegula was just how high the quality was. Um,
Did you
yeah,
sleep before the match?
yeah. I mean, I went to bed at like 8:30.
That's a clutch move because I was like, I was just saying to Sam in the off mic, on the in the off mic section of the pod, which is usually the best bit. I
Mm.
I had a flight very early in the morning, and I was like, oh, I'll just watch Sabalenka Bugula, and then I'll get like 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm never going to get a full night's sleep anyway. But I was unfortunately kind of struggling to stay awake. But for once, it wasn't because of Pagula's tennis. I actually wanted to watch it. It was shocking. They were hitting the ball so fast. This is going to sound like a lie. I was sure that I was watching it on like 1.5 speed.
That's so funny.
I was
You
like,
were like checking.
I was like, isn't it live? Like, why is it going? Because they were, I swear to God, that is going to sound like a lie, but I was very much concerned that it was on 1.5 because I never seen. Maybe this is a psychology thing. If you're sleepy, your brain's a bit
Mm,
slower, and then
yeah.
that felt so fast. But they were hitting the ball so hard, and the rallies were incredible, and Pagula was just not giving up at all, and I wanted her to give up.
Yeah, and I mean that bit in like the first set when she started, she was like down a break in the first. She was down like 4-2, I think, and she came back all the way 6-4. And I mean Sabalenka let a few points get away or something, but mostly Pegula was amazing, really. Like that like specific stretch was probably her best tennis ever. Um, she kept passing Sabalenka, and Sabalenka wasn't shooting like the best volley in the world, but Pegula just kept finding like amazing passing shots, like so precise and so strong. I mean, it was so impressive.
Mm,
And her serving suddenly looked like really threatening as well. She had it all. She
yeah.
had it all going.
Yeah, and
So
if it had
yeah.
been a like any other version of the Sabalenka, maybe not on a hard court, or
Hmm.
maybe in the like mindset that she has been in a few slams over the last 3 years, Pegula might have just won that match. But it was a Sabalenka that was like, no, you know, I'm going all the way. This is my tournament. At least my
Yeah.
final to make. Yeah, I was so scared. But I think now, like, I kind of expected this. This is the nail in the coffin of Pagula's slam chances. You can't play much better than that. She certainly can't. And that was that. I think
Hmm.
from now on, she's gonna have to look at it and think like, what more can I do? Nothing. You might as well just give up.
Well, the other way to look at it is if she finds that level again, maybe she'll be a bit more lucky, it'd be a semi-final and maybe it's still Sabalenka, but maybe she isn't as clutch that day or something, It's also like if I can play that well, that's possibly slam winning tennis, If I were her, I would look at it that way.
Just don't feel it. I think it's like think of like Alex Dimon's best career match. I don't know
Hmm.
when it is because I don't like him or like I don't care for him. But I think in that moment, after his best career match, and he probably lost to someone good, he's gonna feel like it's just not enough.
Hmm.
I think these things like chip away at you. Tsitsipas, all these guys who have produced like really high level, and I think every now and then when the high level is still something that's been built up over time, which Pagula's was, it's going to be really hard to imagine them just, put their head down and keep building, keep building. I mean, she's what, 37? Something like that.
31, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel quite confident that that was it. And she was close to making that final.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I guess kind of impressive performance from Sabalenka to get through that because
Yeah, I mean, third set especially was wild. I don't think I've seen many sets play out like this because, I mean, Sabalenka broke first, and then she never touched the Pegula serve at all. Literally not a single point on return again. And usually in those situations when you're just trying to hold and the opponent is holding like easily every single time, that builds up like so fast actually. It's so much pressure to then go, oh no, I have to hold my serve and I can't fuck it up because she's unplayable on serve. So usually that really tells, and that pressure just makes you get broke. Basically, it kind of means that you'll get broken. That's kind of how momentum works usually. But no, I mean she just kept holding every single time. She found great shots on break points, kept going after it, of course. And yeah, just super impressive.
I do remember that now, and like I was almost at the point where I was feeling bad for her because you could see Pagula getting frustrated about how unlucky it was that she's just rolling through her own service games. She was the probably the better player in the set, and Sabalenka was just coming up with, as you said, big shots on big points. Yeah, it was a very much felt like a meant to be
Hmm.
situation. It was
Yeah.
meant to be that Pagula lost this match. It was meant to be that Sabalenka won it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then we rolled straight into the other semi-final, which I have to say, guys, I haven't seen. I was so story with this is that I went to sleep and I said I'll watch that. I went to sleep feeling good at the knowledge that Pagula wasn't in the final, and that I could kind of relax a bit. I went to sleep and I said I'm going to watch Naomi Amanda after it's happened, and I'm not getting kind of it's stressful, but it's like stressful and I'm alone in the stress rather than it being stressful and I can go and talk to my friends about how stressful it is. And then someone's coming with this prediction and saying, no, don't worry, she'll be fine. When you watch it later, it's like just you and there's nowhere else to turn. You just have to live in your own bubble. And everyone else is comfortable already knowing the result. So you can't contact them, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I thought I'm gonna watch it later. And then I watched the first set, and then I kind of got spoiled. Not spoiled, but I found out the result a couple of different ways. Actually, one of them was also I saw a comment on our last video on YouTube. Someone saying like, "Oh, I'm watching this as a Naomi fan, and I'm heartbroken." And I was like, "Why would you be heartbroken?" um, yeah, and I also got a message from Sam. So I have not finished watching the match. I've watched pretty much the first two sets, and I think I got the picture. But why don't you tell me what happened?
Yeah, I mean, as you saw for yourself, it's, I mean, it wasn't high quality for quite a while, I would say. Basically, what happened was Naomi was playing solid tennis. That's really the only way to describe it. She was serving pretty well, holding her ground in the rallies, but not much more than that, you know. When you preview that match, it's like, oh, it's going to be this big, like, a smoke show of, you know, winners flying everywhere, and, you know, this whole thing. And it didn't really look like that at all. Basically, Anisimova was attacking like 80% of the time in rallies, really. It felt like that. And Naomi was just about keeping her at bay. Basically, meaning she was serving well enough, defending actually, moving quite well, and she was getting enough misses from Anisimova to be able to get a lead and to win that first set. And then the second set was looked the same really for most of it. And I think like towards the end of it, maybe it was like 3-4, 4-4. There suddenly it was like a bunch of crazy games, like back and forth. They were like just like breaking each other a lot, which hadn't happened that much throughout the match. And it became something else in that moment, and you could tell, you know, like none of it made sense anymore. Like they couldn't hold serve, but they were still like playing well. Nantimo especially was whenever she was down, she would find this like amazing return game, like winner after winner, and just looks so good. And so when you go into the tiebreak, actually, the momentum probably was on her side to an extent, and she didn't miss a ball, I don't think, in the tiebreak, which that's like I don't remember how many points it was, but like maybe 12, 11 or 12 points without her missing. I don't think that had happened all match at all. And then going into that first, like, oh, actually, it's really feel like she has it under control pretty much, and that's been the case all match because Naomi going in felt like she had just kind of decided that she would let Anisimova miss and kind of give her the control of the match. And so, but suddenly when that level became too high from Anisimova, it didn't feel like Naomi could stop it at all. In that first third set, I mean, amazing levels from Anisimova mostly, but she wasn't ready or like willing to meet fire with fire is the best way I can put it.
Yeah, 100% agree. It felt like Naomi's research for this match was watching the Wimbledon final, and she's like, you know what? She missed a lot. I'm just going to sit back
Mm.
and, use my improved rally tolerance and my improved movement and my improved solidity to be the solid player. And I just kept, like, even when she was winning the first set, you could tell it wasn't sustainable and she'd have to do something different.
Yeah.
Because at some point, like you said, Anisimova would stop missing. She'd start making those shots she's kind of like made all year, and Naomi would be in trouble and she'd be start like panicking a little bit. I thought she had to get ahead of it and turn up the aggression a bit. It was actually bothering me. I think she was too passive and letting Amanda just like completely out hit her. It was super strange. I thought as a
Mm.
yeah, I understand the game plan, but actually it was kind of strange to experience Naomi as that player. And maybe, we can look at the players she played before and then understand why she wasn't like her game wasn't ready for this matchup.
Hmm.
Because it was who was it before the round before
Mukova.
Mukova, yeah. Which actually I think Naomi was much better in that match
Hmm.
overall. And then she played Coco, she played Kasatkina. Like they're not players that you're gonna have
Hmm.
um a first strike battle with. But I was really amazed at how Anisimova stayed in it. I mean, in the second set, she went up 2-love, right? I think she broke early on, and then Naomi really fought to get back in it and level it again. And you're just thinking like long first set, tiebreak set where Amanda was arguably the better player and she lost it, and then you've kind of gone up in the second set and she lost it, or lost the break. You start thinking, you know, is she going to go away mentally? Is she going to kind of stop believing? But I was pretty impressed at how she just always knew that she was good enough to win that match, I think.
Yeah. And she even made some tactical adjustment actually mostly towards the end of the second and in the third. Her returning became like super overwhelming, like kind of out of nowhere. She was doing this thing when she was initially she was taking a lot of backing returns. Like basically she would kind of like not move that much and kind of like accept backhands when the serve would like aim at her backhand. She was like, oh, I've got a great backhand, so I'll just hit backhand returns. But actually when she really found success was when she actually made the effort to like move around and like, oh, actually on the second serve I have plenty of time to actually hit a huge inside out forehand. And once she found that, I mean, so many like winners, and she would end the point like on Naomi's serve, and she found like so much control and so many like basically 3 points from that. So yeah, it's an element of her game that feels pretty up and down to me, but when it was firing that much, I mean, it was really overwhelming.
Hmm. And they both were returning quite well, I think. Like it was interesting to watch this match of players who have been so recently at such a low level, or like a pretty low level. You could imagine this match in a different context, like let's say a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and it would just be like all of the all of the high level skills that were on show just wouldn't be there. It's funny to watch this match as essentially
Hmm.
almost the best of themselves, and like there are some points where I don't know if you'll remember this one in particular. There's one because it wasn't very notable, but it was Naomi served, Amanda got the return back, and she had to run all the way to the other side of the court to then hit a defensive shot off Naomi's +1. And I just
Hmm.
was like, the movement, like these two players are moving, and they don't usually really move. It's kind of interesting to watch that, like it's different from watching like a Sabalenka Pagula match where we've kind of seen this
Hmm.
for almost 5 years now, roughly this. Yeah, I think, yeah, and great win for Amanda, I guess.
For sure.
Mm. She's got now multiple wins against Sabalenka and Naomi at Slams. She's got 3 wins against Naomi at Slams,
Oh wow.
3 wins against Sabalenka at Slams, and one win against Iga. Um,
Sorry. I know it's that season,
Sneezy season.
yeah,
Mm.
unfortunately.
I haven't been okay. Fingers crossed, touch wood. I haven't been ill in like absolutely ages. I'm not taking a sick day from work at all
Mm,
in this job.
love that.
And then should we go and talk about the men's semi-finals? So, continue chronologically, or
Yeah, let's do that actually.
okay.
Um, I mean, the men's semi-final. So it was funny because going in, and I mean, we said it as well. We were like, oh, there's one great match and one snooze fest, and we were correct, but not, not in the way we thought we were,
Mm,
because we'd started with Alcaraz and Djokovic, and there was really not much to it at all. It looked pretty similar to actually even the Wimbledon match that Djokovic had against Sinner, where didn't look particularly fit, really, and was just completely outgunned and couldn't do much at all. Even when he actually broke, I think, first in the second
mm.
set, and you could tell wasn't going to last. Probably wasn't even winning the set, and it was finished in like I want to say like 12:30 at most. It was really straightforward for Alcaraz, which wasn't that predictable. I mean, he was playing much better leaning in, but Djokovic had beaten him quite a few times. I mean, even at the last Title Slam. But this time around, they really looked like a whole class apart, which hadn't been how that matchup used to unfold. But there was really nothing Djokovic could do it felt like.
Yeah. Do you think it was a much higher level from Alcaraz, like maybe even compared to the Australian Open match, or a much lower level from Djokovic, or both? Like, what was the.
I think it's both, but the biggest difference is probably a lower level from Djokovic. You
Mm.
know, I mean, we'll talk about it again when we cover the finals. This is Alcaraz's best run level-wise ever, I think. You know,
You were
I,
mad. Sam was
I,
crashing out.
oh yeah, I mean, I could believe because he had played that way all tournament, but yeah, it's a whole new world, I guess. I don't know. It was so impressive, and we mentioned it, I think, in the preview, like, oh, maybe Djokovic will find a way to get him his head, that he's done that before. There was nothing, really,
Mm.
nothing at all. Actually, that's what we did say. We said probably Alcaraz tennis will just be too much, and that will be that. But I don't think we expected it to be that drastic and that obvious.
But it was Alcaraz's tennis, but it was his maturity as well. Like
Hmm.
a lot of the reason Djokovic has bothered him in the more recent matchups is a bit of an emotional impact. But there was
Yeah.
none of this, and like throughout the whole tournament, it was maybe his his clownery is stored in his hair because it was so efficient and so like yeah, just the complete lack of clowning or doing all this kind of nonsense stuff that he sometimes can do. And I think the same happened. You mentioned the going Djokovic going up a break in the second set. He went up. Was it like 2-love or something?
Yeah.
I think it was the exact same in the Sinner match of Wimbledon. Maybe the third set he went up 2-love. Um, was it or maybe at Roland Garros?
More like lateral angles, I
Yeah.
think. I don't think
Uh,
he was actually ever up a break after the first set in Wimbledon.
uh, and it's the same thing because we've spent decades watching Djokovic and seeing that position of him breaking back from a place that you think it's impossible for him to win from, and then going, "Ah, oh, this is it. This is now the moment. It's over. We've had our
Hmm.
fun." I remember watching the Tsitsipas Roland Garros final where like it was as soon as actually, I mean, even when Tsitsipas was up 2-sets to love, there
Yeah.
was no doubt. But as soon as he got a foot in the door, you say, "That's it. Go home."
Hmm.
And it's so weird because we're now in a position where you see that break and you're like, "Oh, nice charity.
Cute.
That's so
Yeah.
good for him to get a break. Yay!" The fans can eat him a bit and like we can feel a little bit excited, but we also know it's not going anywhere,
Hmm.
which is so weird.
I know,
And
yeah.
it's crazy how fast that's happened.
Mm.
And I'm feeling it makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, what is Djokovic if not a non-stoppable force? Like, do you feel sorry for this old man? You can't because of who he is, but like, it's such an uncomfortable position because I don't understand him.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, and actually, I thought that was interesting. Like watching that and seeing that result in that match. everyone's conclusion was pretty much the same, like commentary on social media, like pundits or whatever. 25 is not happening, probably not.
The thing is, this is still the thing that we will always say, is that if there is, I would say, in the next calendar year, 2026 season, if there is a player not named Alcaraz and Sinner to win a slam, I still think it's most likely to be Djokovic. Because if something happens to them, one is injured, one loses early, whatever it is, I still think he's the best, the most likely to win a slam in that
Mhm.
context. The other I added layer onto that is that, like, I think his level from Australia until now suggests a trajectory where, like, by the end of next year, he maybe could get beaten by, like, Lorenzo Musetti, or, like, is he going to be
Yeah,
the third best player in the world for a whole nother year?
yeah, no, that's my thing. It feels like it's Fritz is closer to beating him than Djokovic beating Alcaraz and Sinner, you know. That's over time, it feels like that's where we're heading. And I mean, that's my thing. When you know, when for someone to win a slam, you need to like have a whole like laundry list of events that must occur. It's like, I mean, maybe, but most likely it's not happening, you know. It's like,
Mm.
okay, so he needs to be injured and he needs uh to be ill and that's also my thing. Before this time, you could be like, oh, he needs to avoid Sinner. You know, the issue is mostly Sinner. He can still have a chance against Alcaraz. Oh, he has Alcaraz in the semifinals. That means he has a better chance to make the final. Nope. I mean,
Mm.
it now it looks like he can't get anywhere against either of them, and that really feels like too too much of an ask for neither to be in the final. You know.
Mm. And I think crucially, from a Djokovic perspective, I don't think he needs it that much. If we were 8 years ago and he's still chasing this record on that record on that record, and he still wants to be known as the greatest, I think he then goes back and says, okay, we have to go insane this off season, and we have to do everything it takes to try and catch up to Alcaraz and maybe close the gap to Sinner so that I can beat him in a slam semi-final. He has to rectify what just happened. But I think we just got to the point where he's, like, too content. And I'm sorry, I called it. I always knew it would happen after the Olympics. It's not an accident that last year, he won absolutely nothing apart from the one thing that he needed to win, and
Yeah.
he got that. And now it's like, I always think he's been so driven by his desire that he still wants to win stuff. Like, oh yeah, if you gave him if you offered him a Wimbledon title, he'd say, yeah, okay, I'll take it. But it's not this burning desire that he used to have, because he's just now, like, a little bit too content. And I genuinely think that this is a reason why we so often see records broken in this way. You know, Serena's got one more than Steffi. Djokovic has
Yeah.
got one more than Court. The overall record, like, the
No, he's tied, I think.
oh, both on 24.
Yeah, I think so. No?
Uh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Is that
Serena
true?
is
Okay.
20, yeah, Serena is 23 and Court is 24.
I thought Serena was tied with her.
Nope.
Okay.
She
Okay.
wanted to
Well.
match her.
Okay. Well, there you go. The records are so close together. Even
Hmm.
though Margaret Court played 150 years before Djokovic played. There's not like,
Yeah,
oh, we're in the same era.
I actually think the better comparison for Djokovic is Nadal. Nadal's 22. That's probably more relevant than Court's
Right.
24
Right.
for
Right. But
him.
I think that. That's a more obvious comparison, because they were
Yeah.
literally head to head. I think my point is that, like, these things that are put on paper for you to chase, once you've
Hmm.
caught them, it's quite difficult to then keep going and adding to your
Yeah.
record, because you're basically competing against people who haven't existed yet. You have to say,
Oh yeah.
imagine there's some guy who's gonna win 32.
Hmm.
Right, now I have to fight for 33. I, I think you'll often see when sport gets to a high level like this, that the records come, like.
Hmm. And I guess it's especially relevant for Djokovic because he was a record chaser, you know, he was very open about it, and he didn't. I actually like that about him. He wasn't like, oh, you know, I'm just playing for the love of the game and whatever. No, he was really honest. He was, "No, I want to be the best. I want to have the record. I want every single record, really."
Mhm.
And I always thought that was like quite admirable how open he was about it, and that fueled him really for a really long time. And it's it feels like it's all aligning in the sense that not only does he not like probably have the drive anymore, and also, I mean, his tennis and physicality are declining because that's how it works. That's how aging works. So yeah.
Mm. I wonder now if he's going for the titles record because it's kind of the only thing he doesn't have. I
Mm,
think he's like still fairly far away from it.
yeah, I mean, he has. I think it's like. Uh, mm, he's at 100. I think Djokovic.
Oh,
He won. Yeah. Uh, he's like 3 away from Federer and like 6 or 7 away from. Yeah, I think it's Connors.
oh, okay.
That actually feels like a big number of titles for him to win now, you know? Like he could do it if he starts playing like the weakest 250 on the calendar, but like is he going to do that? I don't think so. So yeah.
Yeah, you'd have thought if that were a goal for him, he would have planned that way over the last 2 seasons and thought like, okay, let's try and pick up 3 or 4
Hmm.
titles a year. But he's just said no, just focusing on these things. So maybe it's a secondary goal for him, but I don't think that's enough to kind of motivate him to
Yeah,
like
no.
show up to
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah, it's
wherever.
interesting, you know, actually his press conference like post-match thing, where first of all he admitted defeat. He's like, yeah, over best of five, I actually don't think I can beat them at all, Sinner and Alcaraz. And first of all, that's also kind of surprising because he's not that guy. He backs himself. He's like, okay, I'm. He doesn't say it that way, but it's like, yeah, I'm the best player ever. You know, I can do this.
But
He wasn't saying that, you know.
we
He was
always
like,
people
yeah,
always said that his these were delusions, but then
mm,
he always went and proved them right. So maybe all along they weren't delusions. He was always right, and now
yeah,
he's still right, and we're wondering why aren't you being delusional anymore?
hmm,
Does that make sense? Do you remember
yeah,
the Nadal Roland Garros quarter final or something like that? It was way back when it was their first ever match, and he was 2 sets to love down, and then he had to retire, and then he went into the interview and he said, you know, I think I was kind of maybe outplaying him. And the journalists were like, dude, what are you talking about?
he's so Reno. Oh, Reno is so him.
Exactly. But the whole time, his whole career, we've said, you're
Mm,
delusional. And then he's backed it up
yeah.
and laughed at us. And we're now waiting for him to be delusional and believe that he's better than Yannick and Alcaraz, but he knows he's not.
Yeah, and actually, I thought it was interesting. He was like, "Yeah, maybe over best of three, I can do it." But it's not like he really cares, you know, to do it. He doesn't want to play the 1000 because that's too long, which is absolutely fair. So it's like, now what's the goal? Are you trying to catch Alcaraz in Rotterdam or something? Like, huh? I don't think that's how he views it. But I something else actually, motivation-wise, that I thought was interesting. He's like, the feeling of being supported by these like big crowds who haven't embraced me very much, that does still fuel me, which I think is sweet. And you
He's going to be doing Venus Williams like 42 years old. Like, I'm not
know.
done
Yeah.
yet. I'm in need of some applause, guys. I'm showing
Yeah.
up to Wimbledon and I'm gonna.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you think I, do you think next year's gonna be his last year?
I mean, that's not what he's saying so far, so that's the only info we have. But I really think it depends. You know, I think if it really becomes like, oh, not only can I not beat Sinner and Alcaraz, I probably can't beat Zverev or Fritz anymore. I think if it gets to that point and it's like, it's just not happening. Like, no amount of luck can make you win a slam or get you anything substantial. I think maybe at that point it will be like, okay, maybe it's probably time to stop. That or maybe also you know, an even greater physical decline. I think it's possible as well.
I honestly don't think it's like Fritz and Zverev he needs to be that worried about. I feel like it's like the second tier of guys who he hasn't got an outrageous head to head against. Like the
Mm.
head to head's doing so much heavy lifting against, in particular, someone like Taylor Fritz. But then if you look at like Jakub Menšik, who beat him in the Miami final, if that had been Fritz in that match, I would have backed
Mm.
Djokovic to win it, even
Yeah.
though he's obviously a better player than Menšik, right? That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
Although that week, obviously Menšik beat him. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know what I would like. What I would prefer. It's not about me for some reason. What I would prefer is that he plays like a full schedule though, and it's like okay, don't focus on the slams. Play like a full schedule, like you're a proper tennis player. And maybe you win a few titles here. You can give us some nice matches. Maybe you find that
Mm.
having more match practice does you well. Of course, like you don't know what his body is saying
Yeah,
in
that's my
that.
thing, like on paper, yeah, but probably it's actually not possible.
Mm. But this whole showing up to slams thing, and then you know, kind of walking through to the semi-final and losing quite limply, it doesn't feel very Djokovician at all.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm. Uh, these guys are all like they're all better people than me because I would be looking at my win percentage, my career win percentage, and being like, I'm gonna leave that there.
You log on tennisabstract.com and like,
Yeah,
ooh.
exactly. I'd get like updates on my phone being like, warning, your career win percentage has dropped below 89%. I'd be like,
Mm.
ooh, okay.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it there. That's so crazy. Because like even he's a stat obsessed guy, but he doesn't mind ruining
Mm.
that win loss.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me. Yeah. This is what I mean about this like the final few days of the tournament being very forward thinking.
Mm.
Like the Alcaraz Djokovic match doesn't give us anything in the present. It only gives us questions and ideas, I guess, for the future.
Yeah.
How did he seem like on the handshake and all this kind of stuff? Because I don't think I caught that.
Normal, usual, pretty warm, pretty friendly, kind of as
Mm.
always.
They made Djokovic happy, and now he can't do
Mm.
anything. He can't. He has no powers anymore.
Yeah, and they cheer him on as well, that's
Crazy.
also a bad sign.
Do you think maybe he's going to show up for Australia, get some cheers from the crowd, and then do something outrageous because he's like, I need the booze to fuel me. He'll be like down a set to Rinky Hijikata,
Mm.
and he's like, stop cheering me. This is your guy. And he'll say it maybe just out loud, like, I don't know, throw
Mm.
a bottle into the crowd, something crazy.
Find someone to fight with or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait. Uh, and then, as you mentioned, the other semi final was very much where it was at.
Mm. I mean, yeah, I guess everyone owes an apology to Roger Lessim, who
Not me.
showed
Not me.
showed up and more than showed up. He was excellent. Yeah, I was I meant to watch that whole match, but I like fell asleep for like 2 hours. So when I woke up, I think they had already split the first two sets. I was like, ooh, what's going on there? And turns out Roger Lessim started playing. First of all, yeah, that match started the way we thought it would. 6-1 Sinner, Roger Lessim having like no answer, missing too much. And then second set, playing his best stuff, really. Like, it's not even shades of his best here. It was his absolute best tennis and serving amazingly well, moving great even, finding so many like amazing forehands. It was the whole package, it's the very best Auger-Aliassime can do, and he mostly maintained that for the most part, but it felt like in the last two sets, Sinner kind of like managed it better, like was clutcher when he needed to be, and I guess it was at that point like, oh, Sinner has just like accumulated way more reps and way more, yeah, like practice in that type of like big match and big moments, and Auger being older and having been the guy who actually was better than Sinner for quite a while actually had kind of like not lost too much time. I don't think that's the right way to put it, but compared to Cena, who had become accustomed to managing that type of match, he wasn't able to really match that level of like focus and ability to find what you need on the right at the right moments and stuff. He didn't quite have that, but everything else really amazing.
Mm. Interesting, the Canadian boys really showing up against Yannick,
Mm,
and that I don't think I would have guessed that before the tournament. Like these are the guys who are giving him the most trouble because they at this point they're like a nice draw that you'll take because they are so knowable. They're not. They don't have loads of belief.
yeah.
They don't have any of that. They don't even have experience really. That they're kind of in this middle ground where you just think like, yeah, I'll take Auger-Aliassime, I'll take Shapovalov. They're completely beatable guys. I've beaten them loads of times before, no problem. But they, for some reason, both just decided to absolutely lock in. Felix was just incredible, and I mentioned it before. I think it was in the Zverev match, and you saw it again in the Dimonor match, and maybe probably in the Rublev match as well. The way he was like arrogant and like bold, and instead of being like a kind little gentle Felix, like, oh, all I do is serve big and miss my backhand, and he was like aggressive and fancied himself. This is the best Felix, but it doesn't show up very often because
Mm,
I don't think it's in his nature. But for some reason, he was really spurred on in this tournament, and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the match, saw the result, was very impressed at the fact that he managed to win a set because I think even like the Felix that I'd seen in the previous round, I'd still imagine that Sinner kind of just controls that throughout. But yeah, very impressive.
Yeah.
Do we think, I mean, he's not going to be in the big three, the kind of
Mm.
hypothetical big three that we're always creating, or not us, but everyone else. But do you think like this is a Felix that should be back in the top 10, or is this more like a one-off good run?
It's so hard to say, but you kind of have to hope that he'll be able to draw something from it, really. Because, I mean, he's done this before, it's not like, oh, this is the first time ever you play this well, so now what? No, we've seen it all. We've seen him play that well and then fall off like quite badly for quite a long time. So now that he has shown that he can find that level again, you hope, actually, you at least hope for him that he'll make more of it, make it last longer, find ways to make it more sustainable somehow. I don't know.
Mm.
You hope that he'll have learned something from, I guess, what went wrong the last time.
Mm. I will say it's not like it's quite out of the blue, but it's not like oh, this guy's been nowhere all year. I think he's got two titles this year.
He was great to start with
Yeah, he was good. He was
early
good
on.
early on in the year, especially like in the smaller tournaments. He just wasn't getting
Hmm.
anything out of the bigger tournaments. So it's like I don't know. I think it's a great time for him to find form because like we're coming into his favorite part of the season, and if he can
Ooh.
play a little bit like that in the indoor tournaments and just like roll through playing tons of them, um, yeah. Do they have as many European indoor tournaments now, or have they all?
I mean, yeah, you still have basically all the same stuff.
Okay.
I think he'll play Basel, of course. That's his best carry tournament, I think. Might want to do it in Paris, in Bercy, yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
And he'll make the final as well, probably. He's in a good position now.
Really? Where is he?
I think he's at like 9 or 10, but Djokovic
Hmm.
isn't playing and Draper isn't playing, so he's basically fun. I mean, for now, he's basically
Oh.
qualified.
Oh, that's so exciting. Awesome. Yeah. So it's funny, like you sometimes we look at Felix and think because of the way he wins these tournaments that no one's watching because they're like one of 8 tournaments on a random Saturday in February.
Yeah.
He kind of does keep his place quite nicely. It's a bit like Rublev. Someone like Tsitsipas, he's not winning these smaller titles, so he can just drop um,
Hmm.
quite easily. But yeah, I'm very happy for that. I'm happy for. There was lots of results I really loved in this tournament. It was going quite well for me actually
Hmm.
for most of it. Uh, yeah, but Yannick in that semi, not great. Or
Not at his best, but also fine. Good.
mm,
I mean, good enough to beat every player in the draw but once,
mm.
clearly.
Did you see though, like after that semi final, did you feel confident about the result in the final?
I mean, I had changed my pick to Alcaraz fairly early on in the tournament, seeing how well Alcaraz was playing, basically. And yeah, that Sinner was a bit shaky, especially on serve, and that really never changed throughout. He just kept serving quite badly, like really low percentage, way below his average at like sometimes 45 and or like 48. That just not the numbers he would want to have coming into the final. And I mean, the rating was kind of on the wall for what we actually saw in the final, I think. Like basically you had to hope, oh, it's the final, it's a different match, it's not the same, nothing that happened before matters. You kind of needed that mindset to foresee a different result, I think.
Mm. And the final, I mean, we might as well talk about it because we're
Yeah.
here, and it wasn't particularly thrilling, so we don't have to give it,
Yeah.
best billing last on there.
Hmm.
Uh, it was weird because we've said, or I've said at least before, that I think that this matchup is kind of dictated by the Alcaraz level, and that if he's good, Sinner could kind of meet him there and make it good. And this is from before even Sinner was one of the best players in the world. This is back in was it 2023 when he was playing Alcaraz really well in a lot of matches, but not really getting
Hmm.
so many results outside of that. And people were worried. Some people were thinking this is all he's ever going to be. He's going to be a great matchup for Alcaraz, and
Yeah.
that's it. I don't know why they thought that, but they did. It's always been the case that Sinner can kind of meet him at his level, and you can see that in a lot of the matches they've played. And Alcaraz has won. They've been close. This was not that.
Nope. Yeah, it's funny, like they played that RG final, and that was literally as close as it gets. And a bunch of their matches were like that. But then Wimbledon into and the US Open were some of the least competitive matches they've played like ever. So that's an interesting, I guess, wrinkle in that whole head-to-head rivalry. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, Alcaraz was way, 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 way too good. It was clear, like early on, like first 10 minutes, basically. Honestly, I was like, okay, I know what this is. Um, I mean, it's not like it was out of the blue. He had been playing great all tournament, but phenomenal tennis. Like the serving, I mean, how? Who is that? What happened? I mean, isn't not completely out of nowhere. He had been working on it. He served great at points on grass and stuff, but some of the games he played, he was untouchable on serve, completely untouchable. But I think the easy reading on the matches, Sinner served badly, Alcaraz served great, and so yeah, that's how they won it. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's really encapsulate just how well Alcaraz was playing in basically every situation, from like return game, service game. He had it all, really had it all. I think you know, people used to talk about Alcaraz and this habit to like make matches more competitive than they should be, and like clowning and kind of like going off the rails and trying to hit some highlight shots that he never needed to hit. And people that were like, maybe he'll probably stop doing that at some point, but that will probably be like quite boring. But I actually don't think that's true. I think at his best, it's still really thrilling and just so impressive to see how he put it all together. Like that power, that defense, like that touch. Really, it was all there, firing basically as well as you can fire. I've seen people call it his best performance ever. I think it's at least top three. It's really up there.
What else? Just for curiosity, what else would you put in there?
Mm, I think. Actually, it's hard to say because he was injured. I think that's the last Wimbledon he won in 24. I think he was playing great, but maybe not that well.
Mm.
Not compared to this. Yeah, actually, no. I think I was being. I didn't want to do like a recency bias, but pretty confident that's the best he's ever played. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's striking how different this run was from his first US Open run, which was longest time ever spent on court by a
Hmm.
men's slam champion and all
I
this
know,
kind
yeah.
of stuff. I mean, sets lost to anyone. I think he went five against Sebastian Baez, someone like that. Like just shocking what he was doing, and he
Hmm.
still came through that. And then I was thinking overall about his slams. I think over the course he's won six now. I think he's won all of them. He's won in three different ways already.
Hmm.
I think he's won some two, maybe like this, which have been dominant and efficient and good throughout. And I would put the Wimbledon 24 in that, and then the US Open
Yeah.
here. He's won, I'd say he's won two where he's played not great, but made it through, and a lot of matches being tighter and longer than they should have been. And I think that's US Open 2022 and Roland Garros 2024, his
Four,
first
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I think he's won two where he's like pulled it out the bag in like with like some goated performances, and that's
Yeah.
Wimbledon 2023 and Roland Garros this year. It's
Hmm.
like, to me, it's hard to know before the tournament, during the tournament, and even towards the end how like what you're whether or not he's going to win. Like it's so incredible that he can win in different ways, so many different ways, and you could be in a round three match against Talon Griekspoor and watch him and go, not convinced, and he still might end up winning it. Like it's really impressive that he can just get through all these different ways, and that's why I think one of the reasons why you put the ceiling on his number of slams, I don't know where, 25, 30, like that's ridiculous, but that's the ceiling, right? That's like
Yeah. No, I know.
incredible.
It's,
Like,
yeah, I mean that was my hot take from like the day after. I don't think anyone has ever played tennis like this, you know. I don't think anyone has ever been this skilled. Like this good at defense, this good at offense, this good at like um the whole like net touch stuff. All of that together in one player. I don't think that's ever been a thing at
mm,
all. And you know, people will say, oh, Federer, whatever. Federer couldn't defend like this. Like
no,
that's just not true.
yeah. If Federer
It's
had like peak Nadal's defense, then you could
mm,
consider it.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, he's phenomenal,
Yeah.
truly.
I mean, when I watched him in 2021 and I first had the Carlos Alcaraz experience, I remember watching him. I think it was at the next gen finals. It was in the indoor season, but specifically in the next gen finals. And I was like, this is the best tennis player I've ever seen. It's obviously
Mhm.
not because he's like 17 years old or whatever, and he's not the number one in the world and he hasn't won shit anything. But like, I'm finding it hard to see how this isn't the best anyone's ever been at tennis,
Mm.
because what's he and in that at that time it was very specifically the movement. Like, it was absolutely insane how fast he was, because he's still a bit underdeveloped. He couldn't hit quite as hard. The drop shots and the movement were what it was. And I really remember thinking that, and I'm like, why? Like, I don't know. Am I exaggerating here? Am I overlooking a lot of the kind of greats that we've had, or even the great players right now? And am I just being caught up in this? But I do think there's a chance that he's got like the best tennis ever. The other part of this, and I think this is such an important part, is that you have to be, and I do make this distinction, like sometimes in a jokey way with someone like Samsonova, you have to be great at tennis and you have to be a great tennis player as well. And I think Djokovic is the best tennis player. He's probably got like some of the best tennis ever, but he's the best tennis player, and all the other
Mm.
things that come in that. It's not just, being clutch. There's other bits of that as well. And I think the question mark is on how great Alcaraz can be as a tennis player. He's doing pretty well so far, but I think his tennis is some of, like you said, some of the best ever, if not the best ever. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's. I mean,
And now he's
it's funny.
serving like that. Like,
Yeah, it's funny. It's not like we didn't know, you know. But when you see it all come like come together like that, it's yeah, it's kind of shocking, you know. Like it still like takes your breath away, pretty much. Like Yeah, I was like Joe, fully like wide open the whole time. I was like, what the hell is going on?
And
Um,
I think we had this conversation after the US Open in 2022 of like, there's still so much. This guy can still get so much better by becoming more efficient, essentially, and by like
mhm.
just simplifying it down a bit, taking out the trick shots if they're not so necessary, and just like making sure you just win the easy points that you can win. Don't overcomplicate it. And there was like question marks over whether he would get to that place because we know that he loves it and he enjoys it and he wants to keep it fun.
Yeah,
I feel like we're headed towards there now. It will need a little bit more of being this good. And there has been, I mean, it's since start of Monte Carlo, he's just been like
made the
ridiculous.
final every single time.
Made the final every single time. He's only lost to the two other greatest players in the world, Holger Rune and Yannick Sinner. He's won two slams in that time,
Mhm.
three 1000s, a 500. Like that's the kind of consistency throughout the year that you want from him to kind of get him up to that level of like one of the goats. And that, okay, again, over
Yeah,
10 years more maybe. um but I really think Sinner's presence has helped him with that. I think the fact that there is a guy who can be that elite week in week out and be the number one and who challenge you in that way has made Carlos look at that and say, okay, fine, I'll go and match him. And I think if he hadn't had Sinner, and this is the case for like loads of rivals, if you see them talk about their rivalries, the rival being there has helped them so much. Even if it might look like they've taken away 20 slams from you, they've actually given you more than they've taken away
hmm
in having someone to compete against.
yeah,
And I think that's what they have with each other.
for sure.
What about from Sinner's point of view? Are you have you given up?
I mean, that depends what the question is. Like, given upon what?
Have you given up on him being like, a proper close head to head back and forth with Alcaraz, both of them getting similar numbers with everything?
Hmm. I don't know. Actually, I actually don't have an answer for that. I mean, it's funny. They've played so many times, so you think, oh, it's just one more match, but this really feels like a game changer in so many ways. I mean, not only because Alcaraz displays the level he displayed, but also because this was supposed to be Sinner stuff. Like if you asked me like a few months back, like what are the most like what condition would help either of them the most? Like what could be uh what conditions could make the least close match between the two? I would say like fast hard court because the expectation being would dominate that because Alcaraz has struggled on it. I mean, since he had won the US Open, he really hadn't done that much at all. And in Australia, never figured that out either. So that would have been my answer. And I was like, don't know. It has all changed. It really has become evident now that this isn't about surface at all. This really isn't about conditions. There's like way more that go into it because they are both basically surface agnostic at this stage. So yeah,
I'm gonna say this is my take. This is the Gen Z way of being. This is the woke way of being, where the results and the outcome depend so much more on their current like vibe, their current state. Like, is Mercury in retrograde for them?
mm,
The vibes were bad with Sinner, I think, throughout. Like he had a bit of the was it an injury or illness in Cincinnati?
yeah,
Yeah. The US Open, it never felt like it was his in the way that I kind of felt like Wimbledon was his. Like I wasn't sure, but I felt
hmm
like it was his. And Carlos just looked like, no, I'm fucking winning this title. And it doesn't feel so much about the conditions or the surface of the tournament. It's like the conditions of me and how I'm doing,
yeah,
my mental well being, and all this kind of crap. this feels like what affects them, and maybe it's kind of like I'd probably say the same with like Iga as well. Okay, no, she is affected by clay, like that is she's very good on that, but she seems to be. It's like a bit seems like a bit of a flip of a coin whether she's gonna
Mm.
completely smash the field in this tournament or whether she'll like lose to Iala or Towson or whoever.
Yeah.
This feels like the new woke generation. And Coco too. Like wait, so like where does her foot so all of a sudden she goes, okay, it's me now, and then she just fucking wins. And you just don't like now this year it happened to line up with clay season, so we would look at that and say Coco's great on clay, she had a great clay season. But other times it's just been out of nowhere. Like it
Mm.
doesn't there's no rhyme or reason to it really. There's no yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's it feels wrong to say I've given up on like Sinner being as good as Alcaraz because deep down I've always felt like Alcaraz was better
Mm,
and was bound to do more. But if anything, Sinner is the one who smashed my expectations the most by
mm,
becoming this good. Yeah, but, you know, it's not like I had given up on him in 23 or whatever, but I'd never thought he could be this good. Or
mm.
like have this kind of result and even rise to that level of tennis to begin with. So now it's like, yeah, I guess I just don't know what. I think I'm sure he'll work on it. He'll try to serve better once more. You know, that's always the thing. Oh, he's tinkered with it. He's like worked on it, try to change it, and now it looks like it's better. It's better, but it's never fully there, there. You know, it's never fully fixed, I guess, is the way to put it. So I think he'll keep working on it, of course. And he probably can still improve to an extent, but it, I don't know, it feels like I mean, it felt like he had more figured out about like his game and who he was as a player. That, to me, that felt like that was his edge, and that's why he was number one and not Alcaraz.
Mm.
And now yeah, I don't know. It's also really depends on Alcaraz, really. It's like, how often can you play that well? If
Yeah.
it's pretty much every week of the year, yeah, I mean, good luck to Sinner and to literally everyone else in like history. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that he's already exceeded your expectations though should tell you that you're maybe being unfair on him, like a bit harsh on him. Does that make sense? Like the fact
Mm,
that your perception of what he could be has already been shattered means you have to potentially readjust even where you're looking from now and give him a little bit more credit. Sinner,
yeah,
this is.
that's probably fair. Although the way it came about was really sudden, to be fair. Like
Mm,
he was, you know, this uh maybe like lower top 10 guy and woke up one day, I mean, flew up in Beijing, and, ooh, best player in the world. Uh, that's really what it felt like. Yeah.
I saw it coming. I'm sorry.
Mm,
I said it. I said that. You know what? I thought it was quite unlikely that it would happen, but I always knew there's a world where it clicks and he becomes this dominant because the game is like built for that. It's built for
mm.
like relentlessness and beating absolutely everyone apart from the one or two players who can beat you. I saw the kind of the foundations there, and I don't think the suddenness was. I don't know that shocking because it was a suddenness, but it was like a subtle. It was an exaggerated suddenness because actually throughout the season, that season he'd been getting better and better and better and better. Like really, he'd already made a quite a large improvement, but it didn't
Mm.
quite show there. It was kind of it, yeah, it was kind of hidden because I don't know. He kept running into Alcaraz, or he had a little bit of bad luck here and there, and then at the time Djokovic was still absolutely incredible. So I think when you do look at the 2023 season a bit
Mm.
closer, it feels a little bit less sudden. But the results, yeah, suggest it is dramatic, and the fact that he just like then didn't lose for ages. Yeah. Here's a question. Do you think the gulf between Sinner and Alcaraz is bigger than the gulf between Iga and Sabalenka?
No.
Okay. I'm glad you said
Actually,
that.
wait, no, I think I got it wrong. No, I think hmm. Right now, I actually think Iga and Sabalenka are really close.
No, no, no. Look at their whole careers, right?
Mm.
If imagine that we reduce people's careers to just their slam count, which I'm sure is going to pain you.
Hmm.
What do you think it's going to look more drastic, the Iga to
Oh,
Sabalenka one or the Carlos to Sinner one?
that's so difficult. I guess I'll kind of like cheat my way out of it by going, well, Sabalenka
Don't
is
you?
older.
Yeah. This is built into the question because I think
Yeah.
if they were the same age, the perspective would the perception would be a lot different because
Hmm.
you'd think like it's kind of at the time okay like Iga had a better start then Sabalenka kind of caught up and and now she's overtaken her a little bit in slams this is not in the literal numbers but like in
Yeah.
their performances but because Sabalenka is older that changes it of course so and
Yeah,
that is built into the question.
yeah, it's kind of like she's right now she's down two, which it's actually not that much, but she's down two, and her prime is on paper most likely to end sooner than Iga's because
And you
yeah,
have to look at the conversion rate. I
yes,
tell you this all the time. You got to look at the conversion rate. Sabalenka's wasted because basically, imagine that they continue on this pathway. You
yeah,
imagine in that scenario where it's 100% of the finals Iga gets to, she wins. Only 50% of the finals Sabalenka gets to, she wins. It's slightly over 50% now, but
yeah,
you then like it then becomes very difficult for Sabalenka to kind of catch Iga up. It's unlikely that it will stay that way, but I think this conversion rate's so important. And oh my god, like I was thinking the other day, I would be pissed off if I were a Sabalenka fan. As good as they have it,
hmm,
she's made 7 finals of slams.
yeah.
Like she could have 7 slams.
In theory, yeah, it's really kind of like so. I mean, we'll talk about her. I mean, I guess that's a good segue into it. Sabalenka has won the US Open, yes. In case you didn't know, somehow, for the one person who really only hears about tennis through this podcast, uh, yeah,
This is how I
Sabalenka
found
is.
out about the result of Anisimova Osaka. So
Yeah, Sabalenka is the US Open champion, yes. And I mean, to answer your question, it's like in context of the Iga Sabalenka slam count rivalry, it's like Iga was like about as down as she could be for like most of this year, and Sabalenka was in so many ways at her very best still. And end of the year, they have won one slam each. That's tough. That's really,
mm.
really tough, I think, if you look at it into like in that context, in that way. But yeah, all that aside, yeah, Sabalenka has done it. She's won. Thankfully, actually, I think I would have been quite annoyed if she had played like so many good weeks and had such good tennis since so many times this year to come away with zero slam, 3 losses in finals. I that would have been quite devastating, I think.
Free
So
yourself from slam overrating. It doesn't matter.
I'm being rage baited. It's not about how I feel. It's about how what everyone else would have said. Oh, no, Safina jokes, whatever. Um, yeah.
She's not the only person to be a slamless number one. Like she's not
No,
even the
but
most recent.
of course, I mean, she has never been one. No,
No,
but
Dinara Safina.
oh yeah, yeah, but it was the
Halep
whole.
was.
Yeah, I
Pliskova
know, but
was. I think
the whole.
Muguruza was.
Yeah, but the joke is always Safina because
Mm.
Serena made it a joke once. Uh, yeah, so it's not about how I feel. It's the issue is with others, of course. But yeah, no, and it's not only about that. It's also how she feels herself. Sabalenka is a slam overrater. That's also maybe part of the issue. Uh,
Is anyone apart from Iga not?
I guess not really, not anymore.
Just you and her,
I
and
know.
fucking Martina Hingis and Lindsay Davenport.
Hmm. Yeah. It's it's I felt actually really great watching her win that, because it's always, I mean, it's always the same story, and it still never gets old. Sabalenka always struggles somehow in some way. It's so funny. You, to say that someone who had been the best player in the world that entire year had somehow still been struggling, that's the Sabalenka way. No matter how well she's doing, somehow she's still struggling. But
She kind of is Jesus.
yes, no, literally, yes, that's what it is. It's no matter how well she's doing, no matter no, if she's on top or not, there's still some sort of struggle going on, and she always overcomes it. She's a fictional character, Sabalenka, she's not a real person. That's where it
It is
is.
crazy. It is crazy because you're like, sometimes it feels like she's created the struggles herself, and
Mm,
sometimes those struggles are the hardest ones to overcome because you've put yourself there for a reason almost. And then she finds her way out of it, even though you've given up on her doing that because all the history tells you that she's not going to. I find it so impossible to predict her. So impossible because
mm,
if you said, yeah, she's going to take a heartbreaking 3-set loss to Anisimova in the final, I would have said, obviously. She lost to
yeah,
her in the Wimbledon semis and it was heartbreaking. She lost to Americans twice this year in Slam finals in 3 sets and it was heartbreaking. The script says that's going to be the case.
yeah,
Oh, no, actually, the script says she should win because she's the best hardcourt player for the last few years and she's won most of the slams. But then why did the script get it wrong in Australia? Like, it's it's literally impossible. She's kind of the only player I find it impossible to get the vibes of. Vibes didn't
yeah.
feel good before this tournament. Vibes didn't feel good for the final. Vibes didn't feel good any time. Okay, she was
Mhm.
excellent against Pagula, but like I just don't know.
It's funny, and this time I will take some credit. I felt really strongly that she would win. I did. I mean, it wasn't like a rational prediction because Anisimova to me had actually been playing better tennis. So it was just based on how good have you been playing this whole week, this whole fortnight. That's Anisimova actually, and that's still a positive head-to-head, of course. So yeah, so many signs were pointing at Anisimova, and yet I had this huge feeling that she would do it, that she would win. And yeah, it wasn't like a rational prediction. It was just like it's Sabalenka, She had been struggling, and because she had been struggling, this time she'll get it. She'll do it.
Mm.
And yeah, that's how it went. How did you feel about the final actually?
You know what? I'm struggling to remember like what context I watched this in.
Mm.
I think I mostly saw the second set. As I understand, the first set was looking a bit uncomfortable in that Anisimova wasn't great.
To me, it was pretty much the first set against Naomi, except Sabalenka was actually he was executing that whole game plan even better, I felt.
Mm.
Absorbing the power. Sabalenka spent like half of the match like crouching down, trying to absorb
I
uh
can picture it, and I think the noises are there as well.
yeah, all that power. And she did it super well, but I feel like compared to Naomi, she was doing better at actually taking opportunities to go on offense when those opportunities came along. And so yeah, it was like a better version of it.
Mm.
And she did the whole match really, but there was finally some tension when she had to serve it out. And Anisimova played a great game. I actually feel like people were like, oh, Sabalenka got choked. No, actually, 3 of the 4 points Anisimova won were really great points from her. But yeah, she Anisimova returned great really that game. Sabalenka missed an overhead on a big point. And suddenly the match is back on, and who knows what can happen. And that's also in a way it all came together because where did they go next? Of course, to a tiebreak. And Sabalenka came into that with like a 18 in a row or something, and that's how it unfolded. I actually don't think Anisimova played great that tiebreaker, but
Yeah, I thought the funny thing is when Sabalenka got broken, I thought it's it's maybe over for her. Like this
hmm,
might be happening, Anisimova might be happening, the finals thing might be happening. But then it got to the tiebreak, and I was like,
Wait.
now I feel quite confident because just so many in a row.
Mm,
And I think she had that as well. I genuinely think she won that part, like a lot in part of because of all the tiebreaks she'd won before that, and she,
mhm.
for once in her life, got to feel some kind of stability and confidence in like the repeatability of her results.
Yeah.
And yeah, just very impressive to get that done in two. I mean, like I said, just so unpredictable. I feel like, she's like a computer program that's been programmed to, look at the thing that you just did and do the opposite in
Yeah.
every context. And it's the last thing that happened, just do the opposite. Oh, you just like choked a final you should have won. Now you're just gonna clutch it out and win in tie breaks against someone who kind of has your number. Like, it doesn't feel like there's continuity, and it's like she learned from the previous results, her previous mistakes, but she hasn't like always learned, or she can't like
Mm.
remember all the learnings.
Yeah, yeah, that's it really. It's funny. It's like, oh, you know what? I got it. I was about to say it's a hero's journey. Where it's this whole like sequence of events when you struggle and finally you overcome. But it happens time and time again to the same person. When it's a character, once they've reached the end of the journey, that's it. Like
Mm.
there's a hero and the story is over. But with her, she had to do the whole thing again every time. She's like, you probably won't get the difference. In the Pokemon anime,
I definitely won't get it.
yeah, no, he's always the same age. Like every new season, he's still like 12, and he always like has to get like new Pokemon and like become good all over again, as if he hadn't become good the last season. Sabalenka is kind of like that in some ways. Like she learns and learns every single time all over again, and yeah, she's so unique. She's so yeah.
Yeah. And this is why, like, for me, four slams is shockingly good for her. And if you
Mm,
consider all the opportunities she's missed, like, I never, at no point in her career, really, would I have said Sabalenka's going to win four slams and then, like, reasonably have 3 good years still in her, 3 elite years.
yeah,
I don't know how much further it can go from here, but that's incredible. There's just not that many players who've won that many slams. I,
yeah.
yeah, I can't believe it. And then everything's surprising about her. Like, again, this we were talking a few days ago about the Madrid stat. Sabalenka's only titles off hardcourt have been at Madrid, at the 1000, the Altitude 1000, the fake clay tournament.
Mm,
That's a surprising stat. And that then makes you go, oh, is she not as good off hardcourt as we think she is? And then you go, oh no, actually she is. Like, it's just impossible to pin her down. I'd love to have a conversation with her. Sabalenka, if you're listening, come on the pod.
mm.
I know you love to talk and stuff like that. We'll make a little TikTok dance or something.
That would be something for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
And
no, she's
what about Amanda? Are you still got stuff to say about Sabalenka?
no. I think we said quite
Done.
a few. Yeah.
Um, question:
Mm,
men and women, both of
yeah.
them, who's going to be the year-end number ones?
I think it's Alcaraz. Yeah, I think he just gained too much ground on at like tournaments that should have. I'm doing the quote unquote finger thing.
Yeah.
uh, should have been sinners kind of, and didn't go that way. And now it's like you would favor maybe Sinner to gain a bit more, but it's not enough, I think, to like overcome that gap. So yeah, I think it's Alcaraz. I think it should be. And the women's, now it's more tricky because we have had updates. Sabalenka is not playing Beijing, so she's probably just doing Wuhan and then the finals, whereas Iga is doing Seoul. She's starting tomorrow, and then she's doing Beijing, then Wuhan, and then the finals. So she has like over double the opportunities to get to gain points, and she's like 2,500 behind or something. So if she basically it's similar to 23 in so far as Siga needs to sweep, basically. She needs to like not lose anything. Like she can afford like I think one loss until the end of the year to get there, which I don't think she will. I think it's just a bit too tough with this field. Yeah, I think Sabalenka. Yeah,
Just a random thought now, because you know, when was the last time either of them played on a European hard court? There's just no European hard court tournaments in the schedule of the
no,
elites on the women, is there?
yeah, no, not at all.
It's sad. I really loved indoor. I mean, I'm talking to a Contivate fan, but I loved the indoor
Yeah,
European hard court season. It was really cozy and like, you know,
mm,
I loved that. It's a shame that like, I don't know if it's now just completely scattered about, isn't it? They come in. Some of them are around February time, and
yeah,
only really B tier players play them.
mhm.
Yeah. So on Anisimova, who has made consecutive finals in the Wimbledon and the US Open. She's the second. She's the third player this what are we in decade
Yeah,
to win a maiden 1000 and then make the final of two slams in a row on the women's side
mhm. Yeah.
and lose them both. That's Ons and Paulini and Anisimova now. So
It's so
not
strange.
yeah.
Like how do you like never make a slam final and then you make one and then you make the next one? Like saying it out loud, it sounds like it shouldn't happen a lot, but it keeps happening.
I I don't know. Something about it kind of makes sense to me though,
Mm,
because I think it usually means if you make a slam final and lose, it usually means you're like really really good,
mhm.
but obviously not the best, and you're
Yeah.
probably not like the second best either, because when was the last time the best and second best played in a slam final together? Doesn't happen very often. It means that you are great, but you're not quite
Mhm.
a winner in the highest level. And I think you then kind of take some amount of confidence, some amount of drive into the next slam, but you're still not the best. And I think there's probably still some amount of kind of scar tissue from the last slam final. So it's a weird thing, of course. It's like a strange quirk, but I don't think it's strange that it's happened three times in such quick succession, but I don't think it's like outrageous as a thing to do. It feels like
Mm.
the kind of thing I would do.
Fair enough. Yeah, and the pattern also is that they don't lose, they don't win any of
Hmm.
them.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Anisimova's future in that like Ons
Yeah.
is well, she's on a hiatus, isn't she? As we know.
Mm.
Um and Paolini is I mean we never would have expected her to win a slam.
Yeah, no.
I think we're looking at Anisimova from a different perspective, though, in a different way.
Yeah, because she's younger and honestly more talented, I think.
Um, I'm not convinced that there's really anyone who's more talented than Ons. I'm just going to say that. Guys, did you watch the Alcaraz spinny overhead in the Sinner final? You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Incredible shot. I was in the airport with like my jaw on the floor. Watch a compilation, if it exists, of Ons Jabeur overheads, and you will see this shot in like almost everyone. She is so fucking talented. She's so underrated. Her ground strokes are so good. People underrate the ground strokes because of all the other nonsense. She's so talented, and I love Anisimova, but now why am I talking about Ons? Ons
Yeah,
Jabeur
so
is
you
more
don't think she's more
talented.
talented? Okay, maybe she's not more talented, but I think
She's younger.
she's younger, yeah, and she's just more likely
Mm,
to get there, pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. No, I 100% would agree with that. I mean, this is an incredible year for Anisimova and an
Mm.
incredible stretch as well. But like I think I would have been disappointed if this kind of season never happened, if she never made it to this stage of being like top five in
Yeah,
the world.
I think And it's funny because, well, she's lost both her slam finals, so it's like, oh, well, maybe she can't get over losing the first one. But no, I really think she did, and she proved it. So yeah, I'm just not worried about, I guess, not as worried about like mental baggage and her being able to handle that after the US Open, because in many ways she's put like so many doubts to rest. I mean, she beat the woman who beat her 6-love, 6-love in the slam final, literally in the next slam. So that's super impressive and very telling, I think, about how much she wants it and how capable she is of putting something like that behind her.
Yeah, I would say the difference in the Anisimova runs versus Paolini and even Jabeur as well is that she beat Sabalenka in the
Mm,
semi-finals of Wimbledon to play Iga in the final, and then she beat Iga in the quarterfinals, Naomi in the semi-finals to play Sabalenka in the finals. Like
yeah,
that's the mark of
that's
a top
true.
player rather than kind of like someone like Paolini who did kind of she made the most out of her draws, I would say, in both of
Mhm.
those. Like, who was the best win she got?
Um, I mean, Keys in Wimbledon, but like she was
Yeah,
in yeah, she
that
was
was a
injured.
retirement.
Yeah, and then I guess Vekic at Wimbledon. Level-wise, maybe that's with it. And
Yeah,
at RG, Nandriva, I mean, Nandriva wasn't great. Rybakina at RG, maybe. Yeah.
yeah, it
Maybe
would have been
that's
the
it.
Rebecca one, but it wasn't like Anisimova is very much like I'm putting my name in as one of the best players in the world. I'll challenge them in these tournaments,
Yeah.
and I'll beat them sometimes. So, yeah, I think it's coming from a different place. I would say I'm not necessarily saying she's definitely going to win a slam, but I think this is where she belongs.
I think she'll win one.
Mm?
I feel strongly about that, actually.
When?
Um, like, maybe Australian Open for some reason.
This one now?
Oh, no, I don't know about all that, but
Okay.
one of them.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's kind of where people tend to do it. The newbies, I
Mm,
think, or the first timers. I
yeah.
just remembered as well, I was thinking about this at the time. She also played a very tight match she probably should have won against Barty when she was, what, 17 years old in Roland Garros. So, like,
Yeah.
she she is a different player to those other ones. Like, she was always destined to be elite. And then she had quite some tragedy in her life and then kind of um break by choice later on as well. So like it's been interrupted, but this is back to I think where she should be. And I think this is incredible. She's number 4 in the world. Like that's crazy. I feel that's my little Amanda.
And she's looking good for UN number three, actually.
Really? Oh, because Coco has so much to defend.
Yeah, and in the race, they're like 300 points apart. So literally, she just needs to outdo her by 300. And looking at that respective form, you'd say that that's quite likely.
Wow. Yeah, but don't look at Coco's form.
Yeah.
What have we not learned?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
I mean
that.
that would be incredible. I mean, yeah, like I said, I've said this before. The beginning of the year, we said who's going to make the top 20 for the first time. It was Amanda Anisimova because she had never made the top 20, and I
Mm,
kept going on about this stat because I thought it was crazy, and everyone was like, "Why is that crazy? That's her level."
yeah.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Oh, God, imagine being. I'm so happy for her. I've forgiven her for her crimes.
Mm,
Have you forgiven her for her crimes against Iga?
yeah, of course.
Okay.
I was actually never annoyed at all. I don't think.
You guys have it too good. Yeah. Was she heartbroken after the final as well? I turned it off.
Yeah, I thought she was actually a bit hard on herself. She was like, I didn't fight enough for my dream. I'm like, I
Oh.
don't think that's fair to you, really.
Oh. That's made me really sad.
Mm.
Oh, bless her. Don't worry, Amanda, you're gonna win the next Australian Open, Sam's promised it. Amanda, if you're listening to the pod. We'd love a chat.
Mm.
Yeah. I did have another question. Aha. Who will be the next player outside of Alcaraz and Sinner to win a slam? Because I know this is all the discourse. It was all 8 in a row. It was, are they going to
Yeah,
break the
I
record? I
know.
think they've already broken the record, or they're
No, the
close.
record is like
11?
11, yeah.
Yeah. So who will be the next one and when?
it's funny. You'd think over time you feel like you have stronger candidates and it's becoming clearer. But no, literally every slam feels like they are like even more dominant, Alcaraz and
Mm.
Sinner. So it's like never, no one ever again. No, um, it really feels like that it has to be someone, I mean, younger. I don't see it for Fritz as much as I like him, really. Um, don't see it for Zverev anymore. Don't see it for like who else? Like I've really run out of names.
Like it has to be someone like Rune or Fonseca or someone even
Yeah,
younger. Like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think those are like maybe the two likeliest.
mm.
And
Or
honestly, yeah,
you know what my two are. I'm gonna put these guys in.
mm,
Actually, I'm gonna order them. There's three I've got:
sure.
Lorenzo Mazzetti, Flavio Caboli, and what's his first name? Joao Fonseca.
Mm,
I think I see a world where Fonseca improves a chunk.
yeah.
Like obviously, I don't think this is his final form, but I do think he could get closer to being in a kind of big three status, or like being
Hmm.
a good top fiver rather than a Fritz. No disrespect, top fiver.
Yeah. That's also, I
Um,
think, oh, yeah, go for it.
no, and I was just going to say, I think Musetti and Caboli are both very, very good. I think Musetti is very good.
Mm. I don't think I see it for him as much as you do. But no, he's really, I mean, of course, made some big leaps this year, so who
What
knows?
about Big D?
Oh, I forgot about him because he's injured. Yeah, actually, yeah, I would put him there as well. I think maybe.
Next year or even later?
Maybe like next US Open, because like Sinner and Alcaraz will have like tired each other out to death or something. I don't
Mm.
know. But most likely not.
Okay. So
I
you think it might be 3 years in a row?
think it's quite likely. Yeah,
Wow.
it's so crazy. I know. Yeah, I
Could you
mean to
imagine
think of.
they said people were like, I'm so bored of the big three and the
Oh, I
dominance. And they
know.
said, have we got something special for you?
I know. And
How about if there were only two of them?
can you imagine that Sinner had a whole doping ban, and still the streak was went unbroken. Like that's a really like something that seems really unlikely, and still they didn't stop anything really.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carlos is gonna like retire and have like a side hustle as like a maybe like a semi-professional footballer or something like that for 6 months or 2 years or something, and
Mm.
it's still gonna be unbroken because Sinner will just sweep all of them.
Yeah, I know. Um, anyways, yeah, and that's I think a good segue into, I mean, our feeling on the tournament as a whole. On the ATP, I really think it's not been that long since we have entered the Sincaraz era, but you really do need some people to get a bit closer. Like we should have. I mean, we should. That's not really how it works, but for slams to feel entertaining on the men's side, you need more matches like and FAA. It can't be just the one in like like three world tournaments. We need more of those. This needs to happen more often. Otherwise, it does, I think, get pretty dull for a lot of people. And we still get the final, but it's not like the final is guaranteed to be an RG level banger either. So I really think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is a big point as well, is that for the last two tournaments, the whole tournament's felt like it's building towards this Sincaraz final, and then there's just so much pressure on that. And
Mm,
those two finals, honestly, have been some of the most, for me, some of the most uninteresting finals on the men's side in slams. Like I would say in the last 5 years,
mm,
like they're really only the beatdowns of like Sinner Zverev and the Sinner Fritz were
yeah.
as dull as those. I mean, I think we've had quite subtly fairly exciting men's slam finals. Okay, not the Djokovic Rude one at Roland Garros, but after that, these ones do for me stand out as like
Mhm.
exceptionally dull, especially kind of considering the names that were in them. And of course, like you said, Alcaraz's level was incredible, so it's watchable for that. But when the whole tournament's building towards it and it feels like no one can beat either of them, they can only beat each other, and then you get there and like doesn't even really look like one of them can beat the other on the
Yeah.
day. It's not great. And yeah, I maybe I'm too optimistic and ambitious and hopeful, but I think this performance from Shapovalov and Felix, I think it shows something in those guys kind of watching and going like having a little bit of inspiration from that. I
Hmm.
do think players get this. I think um, Iga in 2022 is the reason we have a really high level on the women's side right now and like serious, consistent players. If you look back to 2021 and 2022, it was just fucking chaos who was making latter stages of stuff. It was just anyone and everyone, and you can win this. I mean, Camilla Giorgi won Toronto or Canada, whatever it was. Camilla
Yeah.
Giorgi.
I think
Like,
it was Montreal actually. Yeah.
what is that? And I think Iga then said, you know what? Fuck this. If you guys are all going to be mid, I'm just going to win literally every single match I ever play. And she
Mm.
did that. And I think everyone goes, right, okay, you can't just kind of coast to world number 2 anymore. Sorry, Paola Badosa, Maria Sakkari, and Annette Kontaveit. You have to get more than 800 points to make it there. You
Mm.
need to have a slam and 2000s or something like that. And it kind of ups the seriousness of the tour, and players who can get there say, I'm going to get there and I'm going to be a legitimately elite player. I'm not going to be someone who can like float about in the top 10. And I think the likes of Felix and Shapovalov, I'm not saying they're going to beat them ever because I'm not, don't think they will. But I think this cohort who aren't washed and old like Fritz and Zverev and Rublev and Medvedev will,
Yeah.
they'll go, they could go the way of saying, not going to bother, or they could go, you know what, this shit looks fun and I'm going to take it a bit more seriously because I can't just kind of stay where I am and then make it to where I want to be. You could
Hmm.
tell Felix was enjoying himself in this tournament, and I loved that. Like, that's
Yeah.
what you want. I think you want the players to want it. It feels like at the moment there's just a lack of people wanting it. What does Rune want it? Like, what are you doing? Who did he lose to in this tournament?
um,
I know,
you
I know.
know,
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it because I watched it. No, I'm not gonna get it. But it was someone fucking old and European, maybe
yeah.
Spanish.
She lose to Munar. She might have.
Munar,
Yeah. No. Um.
maybe. Are you gonna look it up?
Yeah.
If you look it up, you've got to give me a clue because I think I
Okay.
can get it. I watched it.
Hmm.
It wasn't even like someone
Oh,
that you would.
yeah. You old and European is right. Yes.
Yeah. Northern European or Southern European?
Um. Northern.
Northern, yeah. Is it? It's like a German or a Dutch or something.
It is a German.
Is it? I know who it is. No, I don't. Is it Struff?
It is true.
Yeah, because Struff then beat Tiafo as well.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can't be losing to a 38-year-old Jan Lidstruff.
No.
You know what? Also, we need. This is the kind of vibe. Davidovich Fokina. Not someone
Mm.
who's going to beat the best, but he could give you a great quarterfinal. That type. Even a
Hmm.
Tommy Paul when he's playing well. Give us some good matches. We don't even need the question marks of are you going to make it through? We just want the entertainment.
Yeah. And I think people are way too focused on, oh, we need a third guy. It's not really about that, and that's and it's kind of drives me crazy how because of big three now people everyone in tennis thinks everything goes in three. That's not there's no like law of nature that that's like, oh, there are two dominant guys, that means there needs to be a third one. That makes no sense.
And how
Uh
impossible is that? The big
yeah.
three was literally almost impossible to have the
Mhm.
three best players or three of the best players ever playing at the same time. Like, what are the
Mhm.
chances of that? You're lucky to get a rivalry, even.
Yeah. If anything, if you think in terms of two like all-time great level players, or like two or more or one or more, it's usually actually in two.
Hmm.
I
Exactly,
think
yeah.
that's actually way more common. So
And
yeah.
not just in tennis,
Hmm.
many sports.
Yeah.
Rivalries exist because there are two.
Mhm.
Ah, is what it is. A trivalry. Did no one say that at the time of the big three?
Maybe it didn't. If they did, it didn't really
I didn't catch
catch
on.
on. Yeah,
Can't have
no.
been very good.
It
I think it's quite good.
is.
Uh,
It's good.
yeah. Any other thoughts on the tournament as a whole? Like, I don't really have complaints about it. I mean, everything's too expensive, and the mixed doubles is bullshit. But
Yeah. Um, Women's side, I think, was really saved by that semi-finals day. Really, to me, that's how it felt. But there's still lots of exciting storylines as always.
the
Mm,
Krejcikova Townsend match and the
yeah,
Vondrousova Rybakina match were like,
yeah, that was also the of a great day, I would say, for
mm,
women's matches.
yeah.
But yeah,
And I enjoyed Muchova Osaka. I thought
it
it
was good.
was entertaining.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of things that you're not getting on the men's in any way. Like a kind of
I know, yeah.
that kind of
They're
showing.
just more contenders and more good players.
Mm,
At the moment, at least, yeah.
yeah. Any other kind of bits? Yeah, I always love the US Open, and I do think it tends to be kind to me in terms of like who I can get excited about and whose
Mm.
storylines I can latch onto. It doesn't. It very rarely feels tired. You know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
sometimes by
yeah.
the time you get to Roland Garros, you're like, yeah, okay, same people doing well, and they're going to do the same thing as they have been doing.
Mhm.
Never at the US Open.
Yeah, it's kind of always the wildest in some way, even though the winners themselves are this time around fairly obvious. Yeah.
Mm. Any other comments or queries or
No, I mean we could talk about Sao Paulo, of course, of course, but
of who?
The Sao Paulo tournament from last week, but that's not US Open.
Oh, did anyone watch that? Oh yeah, you're annoyed
I
about
did.
it.
I watched a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
it, way too much of it
Maybe
for what it
maybe
was.
in this swing at some point we can have a segment about youngsters
Mm.
because they're very much taking the WTA by the scruff of the neck. I think
Yeah,
they
even.
like it's weird, isn't it? Because like we just had the grannies
Mm.
fizzle out, and it feels very much like they've been replaced by 8-year-olds.
It's really wild. I mean, I think the oldest player in the top 10 is like Pegula, who's like
Yeah. Well, she's old. She is old.
31. That used to be the youngest player. Not quite, but
Yeah.
it's sprung old for quite a long time.
Mm. Keys is quite old as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Famously 29.
Forever.
Yeah, maybe at some point, all we're talking about is what have we got coming up? A few 1000s or 500s or
Yeah, I mean, Beijing is in like 10 days. That's quite a
okay,
long way away.
that is, and then it will be 80 days until it's finished.
Oh yeah, no, Beijing Wuhan is going to last forever, literally. Yeah,
Is it another kind of Cincinnati, Canada situation?
yeah, it is.
Okay.
Oh no,
Well,
no, Wuhan is 1 week.
ah,
The only respectable tournament left on the calendar.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, this the pod has been a bit kind of um present and not present. I don't know the way of saying this because it pretty much depends on if I'm on holiday and then is it reasonable while I'm on holiday for me to get out a mic, which
Mhm.
in the weekend of the semi-finals and finals it wasn't like I didn't really have much time unfortunately, but luckily I've got absolutely nothing to do in this portion of the year, so we can just churn out tons of episodes, unpicking fucking Chengdu and all this kind of stuff that's going on. So
Sure.
don't worry.
I actually like this part of the year. Actually, I think that's maybe a
Why?
bit unpopular. I think it's because the stakes are lower.
It's
You
because
know?
you're a Yannick Sinner, Iga Swiatek fan.
No, it's because I'm a former Annette David fan. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. I mean, literally, that like September through November of 2021, some of the best time of my life as a tennis fan. I was so thrilled.
Mm,
Anyways,
yeah.
no, I really do think it's fun. It's like it's still important for a lot of players to do well here, and sometimes even great stories are born here. I mean, literally, Sinner 2.0 was born in Beijing. So it's fine. That's all balance. It's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't take it that seriously, but also sometimes something really important has happened in that time. So yeah.
Any players in particular that we are looking out for in this portion of the season? Kind of, who are you wanting to watch?
Chinese Chen, of course.
Is that it?
Yeah, no. Let me think. I'm interested to see how Mukova does. She tends to like it in Asia. Um, Interesting. I mean, just other players who like had interesting storylines, I guess, at the US Open, you know. But I'm interested to see what Raducanu does actually. She played today. Interested to see what who else?
What about Naomi? What are we thinking about her?
Yes, I mean, I'm very interested to see how that goes. She's motivated enough. She really could
She kind
get.
of needs to win a 1000, I think.
You know, I hope she'll have motivation to chase top 10. It's
Mm.
within reach with a great Asian swing, I think.
Is
So
there any way at all she can make the WTA finals?
she'd need to do like really fucking well, like
Okay.
Beijing win Wuhan final type of
Oh,
shit
okay. So
maybe.
that's not happening. Because if she won Beijing, I think she'd pull out of Wuhan.
She's playing Tokyo as well,
Oh
of
yeah.
course.
Well, going home.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Any men?
Um, it's interesting to see whether Musetti can win matches on the hard courts again, I guess. Um, who else has something? No. Um,
Look, don't force it. If there's no men you've
yeah.
got your eyes on, don't force it.
Yeah, no, not unfortunately. What about you on either side?
What about me?
Yeah.
Men. I'd see. The thing is, I'll name someone and you'll be like, they're not playing because they're injured.
Mm,
Flavio Caboli, Davidovich Fokina, and let's see if Rune can do well on the indoor European courts.
mm-hmm. Fairs. Well, and I guess OG team as well, just to see if he can sort of back it up. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, we should go because my internet's about to die for some
Okay.
reason.
So thank you for listening. Maybe this was actually a good way to remember what happened in the US Open because, as we said, everyone kind of moved on, but we're taking you back to the place. Um, so yeah, thank you for listening as always. We'll check back with you again quite soon, hopefully. Thank you to the people who commented on YouTube. Actually, really appreciate it. You know, like I'm always like, oh, give us some feedback, and sometimes that doesn't really happen, which is fine. It's not like people have to, but I really do. We really do appreciate it when people do it, and for some reason, people on YouTube seem maybe more willing. I actually don't think people know that you can leave comments on Spotify. If you didn't know, you can do it. So feel free to do it. Yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll check with you again soon. Bye bye.
Hello, everybody. It's going to be a fun video.